something. Here's something that us teenagers are always talking about. It's my life. I do what I want to do. So these little things pop in my head at times about things that I can think and say to impact your life, hopefully. But your life is not your life. Your life is everyone else's life. Things you do affect other people. You don't live in this world in a shell by yourself. So when you go around and say, it's my life, I do what I want to do, it's one of the most disrespectful things you can say, because then you don't care about anybody else. As a matter of fact, you don't even care about the people you live in the house with when you say things like that. So understand that. Don't be selfish. Love is discipline, and discipline is love. Those who love you will discipline you. Now, I'm not talking about child abuse. Somebody beating the hell out of you. You might deserve it, but I'm not going to say you do. But love is discipline. Those who discipline you, tell you when you're wrong, try to keep you on a straight and narrow path to stay out of trouble. That's the people that care about you. The ones that's trying to get you to do everything that you shouldn't be doing, that's not love. You may feel like it's love. Young ladies get taken advantage of a lot of times because maybe they miss out on love at home, and some guy comes along and he makes you think that he's just like your daddy maybe you wish you had, or didn't have, that treated you better. And that's an advantage point. They take advantage of you. Young men, it happens to you too. You're no different. Don't be selfish. I hear it all the time. It's my life. I do what I want to do. Well, whose life is it really? Does your life affect other people? Yes, it does. Who said no? You said no? Who said no? It does. It affects everybody. It's more people than you think. Your life affects other people. If you don't think your life affects other people, I want you to talk to a counselor and understand that. Because here's the deal. Your life affects me. If something happens to you and I have to respond to you on the ambulance, and I've had teenagers die and watched them die, it's not a good thing. You ever heard of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't watch a lot of bad things on TV, especially when it comes to young people. It bothers me too much. My wife will tell you. I said, you can watch it. I'm going to watch something else. I don't want to see it. I have double the time, as he told you, 35 years as a firefighter. We ran medical calls. Everybody on fire departments at least an EMT basic. I was an EMT paramedic because I also worked for MIMS on my day off. So as he said, I have a 70-plus time of working motor vehicle accidents, 70 years combined. Leading cause of death, teenagers, driving. Like I said, the drug abuse is right there with it. About every 15 or 20 minutes, a teenager is killed in the United States from a motor vehicle accident. Excuses for not wearing seatbelts, not going that far. You're more likely to be seriously injured or killed 1 to 5 miles from where you live. 1 to 5 miles from where you live. Airbags are not designed to protect you without seatbelts. Airbags are additional protection. They work great. You don't want to hit one, though. I know a football player, running back, that hit his airbag because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and he told me he'd never been hit that hard on the football field. So it deploys instantly. And if you got that speed and momentum coming towards it, it's going to hurt when you impact it because it's coming out. Takes too much time. Ridiculous. Wrinkles my clothes. Clothes wrinkle when you got in the car. You didn't iron anything. Seatbelts are not cool. A Central High School student told me he couldn't look hard if he was wearing a seatbelt. And I told him I didn't know that was an indication that you was a bad dude. You that stupid. Go ahead. They don't work. The way they work, there's an inertia gear in there. This inertia gear, when it reacts to the energy, you can't really adjust it that way. You can't pull on and make it stop. You can adjust it to 2 fingers tight. Not across your neck, not up under your arm. Seatbelts do cut. So understand how they work. Is you can tap on the brake and start to go forward, and that seatbelt will lock up. You can't recreate that by trying to make that happen. It's not the same type of energy. Totally different. Right not to wear it. It's not true. A lot of people get confused about that. Drivers, if you drive, wear your seatbelt. If anybody's in the car with you, wear the seatbelt. If not, you are responsible for everybody in your vehicle. You won't be sued, but your parents will. You are responsible for everybody in your vehicle. Right? There's a young man that was from high school in Maumelle, well, close to Maumelle, CAC. He was my son's friend. We went to school together. He was a great, great young man. and a great football player. Little running back, little dude. Boy, he was tough though. He was riding around in a vehicle with 2 Central High School students. They were speeding right out here down Interstate 630. Lost control of the vehicle. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. The other 2 people in the vehicle were in the front seat. He was in the back not wearing a seatbelt. He's right in his senior year, and he got killed. Bad day. I knew his parents, his little brother. His little brother played at another school. Let me extend that and not slow it down. Nothing would happen to me. Teenagers don't generally get up in the morning thinking about dying. If you do, you need to ask for some help. That's what counselors are for. If you're having such tragedies in your life that either you want to take your life or you don't care if something happens to you, what you need to do is talk to a counselor. You are too young to try to handle your problems on your own. Your brain doesn't fully develop till you're 25, 26 years old. Boys' brains develop slower than girls. So that means you're smarter than him. Don't believe it when he says he loves you because you don't know what love really is.
That's messed up.
You ain't got a clue, trust me, before you get married. So then you'll know. Give and take in that business. So right here, this vehicle accident happened on Interstate 30 around Bryant, Benton area.
That's the engine.
And this gentleman right here's vehicle was struck by an 18-wheeler. You see the motor and all the front wheels ripped away from that vehicle. So that's a heck of an impact. You can see straight to his vehicle. The airbag wouldn't protect him with the dashboard peeled away from the front seat where he was driving. But if you look, the seat is right where it belongs in that vehicle. The door was shut right there at the side of that vehicle. That's where the door would be shut. That guy right there was wearing a seatbelt, spent a couple months in the hospital and walked out. They weren't. This happened by Park Plaza Mall. This guy pulled out in front of another guy. That's the guy that hit him. This car right here suffered a lot of damage. It was about a 2008 or something like that Mustang, and he was totaled. It's over with for that vehicle. He's getting a new one because he survived. Now you notice the airbags didn't deploy, but he was wearing a seatbelt. Him and the other guy both were wearing seatbelts. They were standing out on the street when we arrived. That was the day I was on the fire department that day. So nothing happened in that car that should have happened. The airbags you think would have deployed with that kind of impact. Like I say, early on they didn't have enough sensors around the bumpers in the front of the vehicle to make them deploy. But he did survive because he was wearing a seatbelt. Points of impact. A 150-pound person would generate 9,000 pounds of force in a 60-mile-an-hour crash. 9,000 pounds of force. This is why you have a seatbelt. You can't recreate that energy to make that seatbelt lock up. So things you're going to hit when you don't wear a seatbelt. And seatbelts sometimes make their shoulders sore. Sometimes they even have hits hard enough that they actually crack a collarbone. But that's better than being dead, trust me. Windshield. You don't want to go through a windshield. You don't want to see that, but you will here in a minute. A post. Both of these are A posts. You have A posts, a B post, a C post, a D post. Those look like they just hold up the roof of their car. Actually, those are protective devices that they build in your car to protect that structure so it can sustain damage without collapsing on top of you. Dashboard, you don't want to hit the dashboard. Bad day. Rear view mirror. Hey, you're looking at a guy when I was a young man, about 20 years old. I hit the rear view mirror. When you had to have seatbelts in the car I had on, you had to take it down from up here. We can get seatbelt safety classes. Then once you got it down there, you had to pull this one part out. You had to hook that in there. And then once you put it up there, you couldn't move. Locked in place. But a guy that hit me at an intersection, he ran a stop sign. He happened to be somebody who was about 3 years older than me. And he ran through a stop sign and he knocked me up in this people's yard. My cousin was riding with me, and I could remember that I was screaming, but I couldn't stop. I could hear him calling my name, and I couldn't stop because I was knocked senseless. Well, the guy that hit me was drinking and driving, his girlfriend's car, and speeding, and he ran through the stop sign. So fortunately, none of us, all 4 of us survived that accident. But I have what's called a poker neck. I have a stiff neck all the time because my neck is now straight like that. So I have stiffness all the time, kind of like arthritis. Instead of my neck being curved, like if you saw a skeleton or something, you see there's a slight curve. Mine is straight. So the doctors call that a poker neck. It's straight, like a card game. Steering wheel. You don't want to eat the steering wheel. It's not a good thing to do. Sun visor. I'm going to show you something what the sun visor will do to you. Traumatic injuries, heart, liver, lung, brains, kidneys. all this stuff, you don't want to damage it, especially your brain, especially your brain. So when you think about this, look at the lungs. Look at all the blood vessels in your lungs, vital to your survival because your blood gets oxygenated through your lungs. I'll get it out in a minute. So on a Friday night or Saturday night, I can't remember for sure, but it was either Friday or Saturday night, I'm working at fire station number 12 on Cantrell Road, across the street from what used to be Ken Rass's Furniture. Before you get to Wendy's, there's a fire station there. So back this way, from the fire station, we get a call for a motor vehicle accident. Raining real hard, it had been. When we leave the station, we go to the right, half a block down from the station. There's two vehicles that have collided. When we get out, we get to checking. One gentleman standing by his car. He's kind of hurt, but not real bad. So you okay? So yeah, I'm all right. Then we look in the car, there's nobody else around. Where's everybody who was in this SUV? He said they all went to Wendy's. So we go up to Wendy's. As soon as I walk in Wendy's, they're sitting around on the table crying and sobbing. And just as I walk in, somebody says, "Where's Allison?" And then they all jump up, start running past me, and I get them to stop and said, "Who's Allison?" And they said, "Allison, she was with us. She was with us. She was with you." So we have a problem. One is we got one that's missing, but we had 7 teenagers in a 5-passenger SUV. That is totally illegal. 7 teenagers. Driver, you are responsible for everybody in your vehicle. They won't wear a seatbelt and they won't wear it properly. You're not riding with me because you won't be sued because you don't have any money. Guess who's going to get sued? Your parents. They bought you the car, you're a teenager, they're going to get sued. So this young lady we were looking for, a young man's walking up the sidewalk just as we're looking for this young lady, and she's over a retaining wall. She's unconscious. She has a broken leg. Not sure what else is wrong with her. Her name was Allison Justice. Allison Justice. I went the next morning to see Allison Justice at Baptist ICU. Her mother's in the waiting room. And her mother, I sit down and talk to her. And she said, "I just don't understand. I just don't understand." I said, "Ms. Justice, what is it you don't understand?" She said, "Allison won't let anybody get in the car and go anywhere without putting a seatbelt on. She makes everybody, every time, put a seatbelt on, including her." So I ask you, Allison Justice, why didn't she make anybody, why did she wear one of the seatbelts? There were 3 seatbelts in the back seat not being worn when she was riding. Why didn't Allison Justice wear one that night if she makes everybody in the family wear a seatbelt? Why? Come on.
She was under the influence.
Say again, young man?
She was on drugs or either alcohol.
No. No drugs, no alcohol. They're just speeding. Sir? Being cool? Who said it? Who just said that? Yeah. Who said that? Say it louder, young man. Peer pressure. Hey, when it's right, don't be afraid to say it, okay? Don't mean everybody gonna like it, but don't be afraid to say it. Peer pressure. Peer pressure for you guys is a dangerous thing. Allison Justice, mother's in that ICU waiting room trying to figure out why she didn't wear a seatbelt. And she bruised her lungs. Allison Justice died 3 days later. Here's the crazy part. I'm standing out on the apron in front of the fire station one day, not long after Allison Justice dies. An SUV comes by, speeding. And I look at these teenagers go by, and I'm looking like, God, they're on Cantrell Road doing 15 miles an hour. And on the back of that car is a huge memorial on the back glass of that vehicle to Allison Justice. Had they learned?
No.
No? Well, guess what? Another day, a different color SUV comes by going the opposite direction. Teenagers speeding again on Cantrell Road. On the back of that vehicle, what do you think's on the back of that vehicle?
Allison Justice.
Allison Justice. That's 2 of them, right? Are they showing Allison Justice the love that they had for her?
No.
Because if they were, they wouldn't be doing what killed her. And that's speeding on Cantrell Road, which is the same thing that happened to Allison Justice and her friend. Football players run 5 to 15 miles an hour in high school. 5 to 15 miles an hour. You might have 1 or 2 20-mile-an-hour guys. Who plays football? You do? Big guy, right here. So coach says, "Hey, look, we got to show these clowns in Parkview that we ain't playing." So first couple of plays, I talked to the refs, and they said, "Look, go out there without a helmet for a couple of plays. You'd be cool with that, right?
No.
No. No, who said, who else said
That's
no?
some big nigga.
No, ain't happening. Here's what I don't get though. You want a helmet for a 5 to 15 mile an hour game, but you'll get in a car that goes 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour and not wear a seat belt or want a helmet for a 5 to 15 mile an hour game? Now, does that make sense that you want a helmet for a football game but won't wear a seat belt in a car that's 60, 70 miles an hour, 30 or 40? You can get killed at 30. Doesn't make sense, does it, young man? All right, now you know why I'm here today, because I didn't get to be this old by being a fool. All right? I've been fortunate, been blessed. This guy right here, stalwart. He's an all-pro, Hall of Fame wide receiver. This was his last game, right there.
I bet it was.
Yeah, you bet he was. Yeah, you're right. He had never played another down of football after this. The guy that hit him, his nickname is Ken the Hammer Hamlin. Ken the Hammer Hamlin, an Arkansas Razorback who went to the pros. He put this guy out of football. Ken the Hammer hit him so hard, and that's the reason they called him the Hammer, because he would hit people in practice so hard they had to get on to him. Said, look, man, we got a game. We're about to kill everybody. And he didn't play. He was serious about what he was going to do. Ken had to be helped off the field. They had to help him walk. He buckled his knees. He hit this guy so hard. Stalwart never played another game of football, as I was telling you. And he dropped the football. The reason he can't hang on to it, not just because he hit him so hard, but he suffered a brain injury. People do this, they posture. We call this a hold-up position when you have a brain injury. Or sometimes, if you ever seen a football player get real hard, hit hard on the field, sometimes you see them stiffen up and they fall backwards. They don't catch themselves. That's a sign of a brain injury. That's why nowadays, you get a helmet hit, they pull you off to the sideline. They have a doctor who's going to check you out before you let you go back in the game. It's going to get ugly from here on out. This young lady was riding in a Walmart parking lot looking for a parking space in a Walmart parking lot, Southwest Little Rock. A lady backs out in front of her. She hits that lady. This lady's sun visor was partially down. Feel your scalp. It's attached in 7 places. Feel how it moves around. You can wiggle it all over the place. Right? She catches the sun visor. It peels her scalp back. Now, that didn't kill her. It wasn't going to be a good thing. It's going to cause some cosmetic surgery. But peeled her scalp back. And then she hit the A-post, the support post for the roof of her car and body of her car. She hit the A-post in a Walmart parking lot, dead. Died in a Walmart parking lot. This lady right here suffered a broken neck. You see where the glass right here cut all the way up into the top of her head. Now, she didn't survive because she had a broken neck. She would have survived. Your insurance company does not pay for cosmetic surgery, so they graft skin from your body, your leg, your butt. Be a butt head, you want to be, right? For real. And even animal skin, and even skin from cadaver. You know what a cadaver is? Dead body. Dead people. And your insurance doesn't pay for cosmetic surgery. So if you want to look pretty, that's out of your pocket. Glass will stretch and it will pull back together and it will rip, tear, lip, tongue, nose, eyebrows, all that stuff get cut off. I've seen eyelashes hanging in the windshield. One young lady had her eyelashes in the windshield and she screamed in my ear, and that wasn't very pleasant. But she did survive, fortunately for her. This person right here has battle signs. See all that discoloration? That's the pooling of blood or fluid around his face. So traumatic brain injury, dead. This young lady right here has battle signs. That little blue is not blue eyeshadow. See, there's a mark up there on her forehead. That young lady was out riding around with friends and had actually, I'll take it back, excuse me. That young lady was on her way to the prom, her and her boyfriend, and they get in a minor accident, and he hit another vehicle. Her boyfriend's wearing a seatbelt. He's fine. Girlfriend wasn't wearing a seatbelt, hit her head on the corner post, the A-post by the windshield, and it killed her right there at the accident scene, right there. She died. So why didn't that young ladies wear her seatbelt?
She didn't want to wrinkle her dress.
She don't run wrinkle her dress. Would a flat seatbelt wrinkle her dress?
No.
No. Is the prom worth dying for?
No.
I hope it ain't.
Not really.
65 miles an hour. State of Arkansas has what's called absolute law. Many people don't know that. Some of you have been told, oh, they give you 5 miles over. That's a police officer's discretion. That's a state trooper's discretion. Sometimes they let you go over the speed limit, especially on the weekend and holidays. is so traffic flows. Because when they turn those blue lights on, everybody starts braking and rubbernecking and looking to see what's going on.
Exactly.
And it causes accident. So they try not to do that. But in a construction zone, when you see this sign that says strictly enforced, a lot of people didn't believe that out by the airport when they were working on the interstate. They were getting $200 tickets for 1 mile over the speed limit. When it says fines will double and strictly enforced, you better believe it. So why do the police officers let you go 5 miles or 10 miles over the speed limit like on the interstate? The reason for that is if traffic's moving well, they don't want to throw those blue lights on because they know everybody's going to start rubbernecking and looking and hitting their brakes and all that. And it can cause other accidents. So they do give you a little leeway as long as you're driving, pretty safe. You can go a little bit over speed limit. But if you see a sign that says strictly enforced, you don't want to go over the speed limit. And when they say strictly, they're talking 1 mile over, that'll get you a ticket. Hydroplaning. The front wheels of this vehicle is probably a front wheel drive vehicle, which makes it worse. It has water under the tires. This one has water under the tires. Water is virtually non-compressible. Your tire treads, that's why you should get tires when they wear down. Your tire treads channel water through the treads. But if you get too much water on the road and you're going too fast, you can literally ride on top of the surface of water like the guy would be skiing behind the boat. Same principle. So a lot of people, that's why you see so many wrecks. You look at the back wheel, even if it's back wheel drive or rear wheel drive, you're still going to get twice as much water back there. So not a good thing to do is speeding when it's raining. Slow down when it's raining. So like I was telling you about the people that passed me coming from Dallas. They passed me speeding and then I passed them. About 5 minutes later, they were all up on the interstate. On the other side of the interstate, like I said, I seen an 18-wheeler sliding sideways down the interstate in a rainstorm. Down the interstate. This young lady right here suffered battle signs, traumatic brain injury. See a little bit of discoloration behind her ear there. This lady's hit hard enough to kill her, but not hard enough to mess up her hair. She was going down Interstate 430, it was raining, she lost control of her vehicle, slid off in the mud, came to a sudden stop at 65 miles an hour. Sudden stop, who's still dealing with 65 miles an hour? She is, that's right. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. They pulled the car out of the mud and drove it away. Steering wheel. You want to eat the steering wheel? That's called blunt force trauma. Bad day. You don't survive that. It was alive for a little while because that's an endotracheal tube that a paramedic will put down your airway. 30-mile-an-hour crash, a 15-pound child will generate 400 pounds of force. 400 pounds of force, that child's not going to survive. Kids need to be in car seats. If they're too big for car seats, they need to be in booster seats. Until their feet touch the floor, they need to be in a booster seat. If they don't get in the car and their feet don't touch the floor, they're still should be in a booster seat. Not a car seat, but something to raise them up so the seatbelt doesn't fit across their neck and it fits them properly. My son used to get in the car when he was a real young kid. He'd get in the car and finally one day he said, "My dad, my feet are touching the floor." He was tired of sitting in that booster seat because he felt like he was making him out of a little kid. But it was my responsibility to make it safe for him. There's a young lady got ejected out of a van like this one. 9-year-old girl. Family backed out of the driveway. She gets ejected through the side glass of a van. When they backed out, another guy hit her. Fortunately for this young lady, she went through the glass and landed on her feet. But when I looked at her back, pulled the shirt up, looked at her back, it looked like somebody just took nails and just raked the skin off her back. That lady unfortunately survived. I know another child that did not have brain injuries for the rest of their life would never be the same. This guy right here left the road at a high rate of speed. This guy, you see the trees right in front of the steering wheel? That's not a good thing. This guy right here had a habit of drinking and driving on the weekend. It was his hobby, and I'm not making that up. His wife told this story. But he always had a friend to go with him. He loved to take his friend with him, and his friend was his 7-year-old son. What a dad. Gee, Dad, thanks, right? Yeah.
Best dad
Cars
ever.
are designed to protect you. A post, B post, C post. Those are structural components of your car. Not just to hold the window glass, but structural protection of your car. They're built to protect you. I did know some girls not too far from the fire station rolled their car over just like this one, same color. It was 4 girls in the vehicle, and they all 4 crawled out. They were fine. They were wearing a seatbelt. This is a gentleman right here. He was crushed by his own vehicle as well when he got ejected. Came behind him. Watch motorcycle races. When they fall off a bike, most of the time the motorcycle comes behind them and hits them. follows him down the track. So this guy right here was crushed by his own vehicle. There's nothing wrong with people ride. The seat is fine. That seat is where it belongs. But he came through the windshield. Bad day. One of the teachers in class, she was still teaching when he had this accident. He had a wife and 2 kids. He was in school. I think at that time it was when J.F. Fair was Elder McClellan. And she said he had a wife and 2 kids. Bad day for that young man. Another accident I worked out in West Little Rock with a vehicle identical to this vehicle, looked just like it. I'm out in West Little Rock working at a fire station one night, and there's an accident. We get called out, and some teenagers had ran over gravel in the road, so they went back to see what they ran over, and there was a car off the road down in the grass. So we walked down there, and there's a guy with his head is right here. He's real tall. He's about 6'3", 6'4". And his legs up across the seat. It's dark. We really can't see. So understand, we got to get all this cut away to get to him to get him out. So he's still alive but unconscious. So they start cutting all that stuff away. And unlike TV, we don't get people out of cars in 5 minutes. That doesn't happen. Trust me. Okay. So we get all this cut away. I go back in the car because everybody else is a basic EMT. I'm a paramedic EMT. So I get back in there. Hey, Eric, get back in there. So I go in there, and before we move him, I want to make sure nothing else is wrong with him. He's unconscious. When I run my hand down his legs aren't broken, but I stick my hand between his legs, and this voice says, "Get me out of here." Underneath him is his girlfriend. She wasn't real tall, short girl, but we couldn't see her in the dark and underneath him. I lifted her up, unbuckled her seatbelt, helped her step out, not a scratch on her. The boyfriend had to go to be med-flighted and had to have his face reconstructed, laid his face completely open. Now, I think he's got the same girlfriend. No, nobody want an ugly boyfriend. So cosmetic surgery. Remember I told you, insurance company doesn't pay for that. There he is. That was in that car. That guy right there was crushed by his own vehicle. 25 times greater chance of survival remain inside the vehicle, wearing a seatbelt. This car right here belongs to 2 students who were speeding down our street Pike. And the 2 students were from Central High School. They lost control of their vehicle. There's nothing wrong where people ride. Not at all. They were ejected. This one hit the tree. This right here, his body's twisted. His hands are twisted. His body's twisted too. His shoes have come off. One of the shoes is right there. His other shoe is in the car. Ejected out of his shoe. Bad day for those students. Good young man just made a mistake. Here's a guy riding at a high rate of speed. Before he hits this tree, he picks up 3 15-year-olds from North Little Rock campus. They were out one night walking down the sidewalk on a Friday night. He pulls over and says, "Hey, y'all want to ride with me?" And he said, "I got some beer." And what did they say?
Yeah, let's go.
Huh?
Let's go.
Let's go, right? Yeah. So they get in the car with this knucklehead, but there's a red flag here. What's the red flag?
He drunk.
Huh? No, it ain't the red flag. Huh?
Stranger danger.
Stranger danger? Pedophile. Everybody thinks that pedophile means sexual assault.
Oh, yeah.
Pedophilia doesn't always mean sexual assault. It'll be like me coming up to you and saying, "Hey, what's your name, young man? Come on, let's go ride." I don't know you. I've never seen you before. Is that a problem?
Yeah.
They've never seen this guy before. That's a problem. So he's speeding. One of the teenagers in the front, head goes through the windshield. His legs get crushed up against the dash. The other 2 in the back seat did survive. That's not what you want your legs. You can't lay down on the floor and make your feet lay sideways like that. And that's when he went through windshield. Only thing fortunate for him, if you want to say that, is that he didn't feel much pain. He was dead, unconscious within a couple of minutes. Sad. This young man right here was ejected out of the back of a pickup truck. He'd been in Little Rock partying with his college buddies. But the problem with him is when he drinks, he likes to fight. I don't know why drunk people want to fight. It ain't a good thing, but some of them do. You've seen them have a coach. You know, I don't understand it, but they do. So it does something to their brain, alcohol. So this guy right here is the one that fights his college buddies. They say, "We're going back to Conway. We're going back to campus. This ain't working." They get in the car, they get in the truck, and then they start racing back to Conway. But they make him ride in the bed of the pickup truck because they're tired of dealing with it. So as they're racing back to Conway, they pass one of our paramedics that used to work for us, and he said this kid is standing up in the bed of the pickup truck on the cab, his head down on the cab, watching the race. And when they switch lanes, and they toss him out on the interstate, and the car behind him comes behind him. They hit him. You can see their tire tracks. They go down in the median, back up on the interstate, on the Conway to finish the race. They had no idea that they just ran over their friends. Y'all see that right there? What's that?
Brain.
Brains. More important than that. That's a Catholic high school education.
I love brain.
Parents pay a lot of money for that, especially going to Hendrix. Last time I know, Hendrix ACT score average on campus, last time I know, it's probably higher now, was 28. Average. Some of you hoping you make 18, right?
I'm gonna make 5.
28 average. So was he a stupid young man?
No.
No, because he's at the #1 academic college in the state of Arkansas. Most people don't know that Hendrix College, this small college down there, is the #1 academic college. You don't go there on a whim. You go there because you have the ability to pass the course. Jaws of life, 45 to 50 pounds. You have to be certified every 2 years to use it. You just don't grab it and run and get somebody a car like they do on TV in 5 minutes. If this weighs 45 to 50 pounds, you're down in the ditch, and then that pump that we carry to pump fluid through those lines takes 2 people to carry it. You think we get people out of cars in 5 minutes like TV? TV causes problems for us because people say, y'all don't care. Y'all just taking your time. I got told one time that if they were black, if they wasn't black, we'd have got them out of the car faster. And I was in the car with a person, and I just looked at him and went, okay, I don't know if we can get that one.